So today, what I'm going to talk about, or we're going to talk about, is the war on sleep. Now, you might wonder what that is. You know, you think of wars going on in the world, the crazy stuff going on with the pandemic. But actually, I contend, and it isn't just me that contends this, that humans have long been sleepwalkers. They live in a waking sleep. And you could say, well, no, I don't. You know, I get up in the morning and, you know, I'm awake going about my day, but I'll tell you, you are actually asleep. And so, okay, so what this actually means is that humans, the human species, as we look down upon them from a spaceship orbiting the Earth, you know, and we're looking down as another species from another world. And basically, we're looking down at humans that are fast asleep. And that is that they do not have conscious awareness. They're not self-aware. We are not self-aware. And most people go, yes, of course I am. I know what's going on. But actually, you don't. You know, if you actually start observing yourself, you'll see that mostly you're in a trance. And that means you're in the kind of subconscious realm. You're thinking about, you know, what was going on yesterday or what you're going to do tomorrow. And you've got a lot of internal dialogue, self-talk going. And you're actually not aware of yourself and actually not that aware of the world around you. And that is the norm for humans. And so what it means in practice is that, you know, many people, someone comes along and they look at, you know, give them a bit of a dirty look. So what's the matter with you? Why are you doing that? And actually the person giving you a dirty look has got their own visions, you know, in an internal dialogue going on, and they're thinking about something else entirely and not about you. So mostly, you know, you're not aware of, you know, what's going on, not truly observing. Most people are fast asleep. And it is also being contended that we are a world of robots, mechanical animals. And I think that's a good one too, because everything we do is robotic. You know, it's by rote. We react to, we're basically reactive. We react to everything, but we're not actually proactive. Very few people are. You know, you might say, I can make decisions, but actually, if you truly analyze yourself, truly looked at yourself, you would find that you are a sleepwalker. So let's ask Dark Angel if she's got any opinions upon that.
Well, I do agree 100% with you. I recall being not being consciously aware and just being like, I was taking my daughter to, no, I was not. Actually, it was a day off. And, you know, I traveled this normal route going into town and, you know, I winded up on the road going to my daughter's school. And I'm like, how in the hell did I get here?
Yeah.
You know, like what the hell happened? You know, I'm trying to go to the store, but I'm actually on the road going to take my daughter to school because I had literally was not consciously aware. You know, I wasn't consciously aware at all. And I guess I subconsciously drove myself on the path that I normally would, you know, not realizing it. And that to me is probably the best, you know, example I could give when it comes to something like that. So I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you on that. I'm sure, you know, most people that drive vehicles, you know, often have that experience that they get somewhere and they cannot remember the last 10 minutes or how did I get here?
How did it even happen? But you can do it at home as well. You know, you can suddenly wake up and think, you know, I don't really remember, you know, just going to put a kettle on or something like that. Actually, I don't remember even doing it, you know. And so it's like, so it's basically being in the subconscious realm. Which people could say, you know, it's not a bad thing because if subconscious drives you there, what's the problem? As long as you don't crash, you know. So you
but
could
it's
say
scary. I mean, it's really scary that your brain
mm,
is on autopilot, pretty much.
yeah, well, that's right. But that is one of the powers of the brain, because if you want to attain, say, mastery of something, for example, like martial arts, it's endless repetition to get all the moves into your subconscious mind. So you do it on autopilot.
Right.
But obviously, they also make sure that you're not thinking about what you're going to have for dinner tonight while you're, in combat. And so there is very much, conscious awareness going on, say, in the kind of Zen and the martial arts. So but you could say, but the thing is, that's actually true. Most people live their lives. Like driving the car somewhere and didn't know you've done it. So most people do everything is in a sleepwalking state. Very rarely does anyone suddenly wake up and become aware of themselves. It sounds crazy to most people, and they're living in a trance and literally sleepwalking, and kind of robotics. But mostly if people think, that someone, there's stuff going on and it goes kind of Jerry Springer. And so what happens is, because they lack self observation, remembering yourself, because a lot of it is actually remembering yourself, because mostly you forget yourself, even though people say, what the hell is that? But actually you're not aware. And so if someone's, there's this whole lot of crazy stuff going on, and someone says, yeah, you should be doing this, and you really should be doing that, you set off. You come, well, why should I be? And the whole thing sets off. But actually, with self-remembrance, self-observation, you would be aware of emotion, like a rearing horse coming straight up where you're going to go, nah, and come back. And it is a mix of self-observation, self-remembrance, and keeping the self-talk down, and then you can just deal with things very rationally, and situations that are somewhat antagonistic tend to dwindle away, or the person is just thrown by
exactly. I learned that.
Yeah.
Being the one thing that I did learn is that when you're dealing with someone who is, very emotional, especially someone who is controlling, they usually, people who are very controlling individuals also have very low self-esteem. When it comes to the psychology of it, you can understand it, because if you have low self-esteem, you're going to be very controlling mostly. Am I correct, Doc?
Yeah, definitely, because you're making up for that lack of
you're making up for that. Exactly. And so when you have someone who's very controlling, and they are very much there's no rational part. They don't have control of that rational side of their or any rational to them rationality. They're very emotional. And when you're dealing with someone who's very emotional and non-rational, the best thing you can do is to stop the self-talk and be very consciously aware. And once you're able to do that, then you become in control, and you're able to stop the Jerry Springer, like you were saying.
Yeah, the Jerry Springer effect. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean,
because they have no one to argue with.
Well, yeah,
and you're able to listen.
It's gone.
You're able to hear the things that they're trying to say to you, and you're able to stand back, and you're finally in control at that point. You're able to listen to every word and not get upset and not bring emotions into it.
I think generally the really quite deep part of this, in a sense, is that when you sort of maybe teach people about stilling the self-talk, self-remembrance, self-observation, you see, in a sense, how can it happen? Because you've got a higher, I'm not going to say higher self or deep self, because they're very new age terms,
right,
and a bit meaningless, but you've almost got to create a higher I that can look down on you and actually direct the self-awareness, self-observation, self-remembrance.
Right. Exactly.
And then you could ask, what is that I that I have created, you know? And if you were going to look at Gurdjieff, G.I. Gurdjieff, we call him Russian, I hesitate, I'm going to say Russian philosopher. I don't want to say mystic because, you know, it's very deep stuff. And he contended that humans, and he was often talking in allegory, so you can't actually be sure, but I kind of like this, that the human species does not have a soul, that you have to create one. In terms of the higher I, let's ask Dark Angel what exactly it is that one creates.
Well, actually, it's being self-aware. And whenever I started getting into his teachings and learning about it, you could be in the middle of an argument with someone who is truly narcissistic, or say they're gaslighter, an experience with a gaslighter. When you are you create that higher I, when doing so, what you're doing is you can see yourself. You are consciously aware enough that you actually can see yourself like you're on a TV, and you can see yourself move, your hand movements. You can feel the ground beneath your feet.
Yeah.
You can feel the wind blowing, but you can see everything you're doing, including eye movement. It's like looking at yourself outside of yourself.
Yeah,
it's like you're standing over here looking at yourself and how you're reacting. Your hand movement. You're just being conscious. What you're doing is actually being conscious of your voice, the tone of your voice. You're being conscious of your movements,